Okay guys, we are going to start exercise training sessions, and this is the first session, and we are going to cover something around 20 sessions on exercise. I'll try to cover as much as I can. Okay, um, I'll try to provide as much knowledge as I can to you guys so that it will be easy for you to settle down in exercise. So before starting exercise, let's see how many of you guys know what is SQL Server and what is MSBI and couple of other terminology which is required to be familiar with. Okay. First, let's start with the SQL Server. How many of you guys don't know SQL Server? Before going to that, how many of you guys don't know what is database? Don't know. I'm highlighting. Just say I don't know if you don't know it. Okay, fine. One person replied that you don't know what is database. So I mean, this is a session where people will be coming from different backgrounds. So as I told you earlier, it will be little boring for the guys who knows databases or who knows what is SSIS or what is MSB and all. So you need to be patient for letting others to understand or to learn the technology. First, let's start with the database. As one or two guys don't know what is database. See, the place where you can store the data in an organized format. Earlier, wherever you are storing the data, even a notebook. In notebook, people used to write ledger books. They were maintaining ledger accounts earlier, like in 1980s or so. So even that one is called as a database. Wherever you are storing some data, we call it as database. But after that, it is changed. It changed, and now people call wherever we are storing the data in an organized format, we are calling it as database. Should be organized. It should be organized in the sense it should be easy to read, easy to write to that, and easy to pick whatever you want instead of going through all the records. So you should be able to. It should be easy to pick the record that you are looking for or the data that you are looking for. So in short, the collection of data we call as database. Like if you see, I have hundreds of records with me. And if I can write all those records in an organized format to a notepad, then I call that notepad as a database. And if I write the data to an Excel sheet, I call that Excel sheet as database. In the same way, there are so many database servers available. A couple of examples means if you see, the SQL Server is one of the server which provides an option to store, to manipulate the data. So that is one of the database server using which you can create databases. Create databases means create and maintain databases is nothing but you create, maintaining the data. And Oracle is one example. Teradata, MySQL. So you have so many different types of database servers. Apart from that, if you maintain the data properly in a notepad or in an Excel, we can call that one also as a database. Now, you got little idea about what is database. The people who don't know earlier, this is the database where you maintain the data. Now, how many of you guys are aware of SQL Server? How to connect and what is SQL Server and what tools are present in SQL Server? How many of you guys are aware of? Okay, so SQL Server is one of the database servers. There are so many, as I told you, SQL Server, Oracle, and what else? Teradata and so on. SQL Server is one of the database servers. So what you can do using SQL Server, let's say this is your SQL Server, let's assume, and you can create databases, and in that databases you can create tables where you can store the data or where you can manipulate and where you can play with the data. So SQL Server helps us in storing and manipulating the data, reading the data from the database, whatever we have stored. So in short, SQL Server is one of the servers which helps the users to create databases which is used for maintaining the data. Let me show you how to, where you can create databases and how to connect to the SQL Server and so on. You need to have one framework, right? You need to have some UI, user interface, to interact with the database, right? Like creating the data. If I say I'm going to insert a record into the database, what it means, how I'm going to insert it, where I'm going to insert it. I need to have a UI. I need to have an option, a framework to do the same, right? Once you install SQL Server software, which I'll cover in coming session, mostly next session. Once you install SQL Server software, you can see SQL Server Management Studio under the folder SQL Server 2008 or 2008 R2, whatever version you install in your computer. In that folder, you can see SQL Server Management Studio. If any one of you guys have installed SQL Server in your machine, and if it is not of Windows 8 OS, then you can go to All Programs. Under Start menu, you find All Programs, and in that All Programs you will find a folder called SQL Server Management. SQL Server 2008 or 2008 R2, whatever the version you install. In that, if you can find SQL Server Management Studio. You can see here the one what I am highlighting, that is the SQL Server Management Studio, which will be available once you install SQL Server in your computer. So now I've installed, I clicked on that, it is opening the SQL Server Management Studio, and this is opening for first time, so it may take some time. It depends on the computer performance, what computer you are using and what is the computer configuration. Based on that, it will take a little time to open. So this is the first page, startup page, where it will ask for credentials. The first thing, don't worry much about all this stuff, that the terminology like credentials and all. So once you start practicing, or once the classes progress, or once the exercise class progress, then you can easily identify what is database server, what is credentials means, and everything. So this is the first class for a couple of guys who don't know anything about database. So it looks little strange, little confusing. So don't get worried. You will get into touch within the first week, and like something around after finishing 5 sessions or so, will come to the speed. So this is the first page when you connect to SQL Server Management Studio. I'm giving a brief about SQL Server. This is the first page where it will ask for what is the server name. Server name means where the SQL Server is installed. Where is the SQL Server installed? SQL Server installed in my machine. That is what I'm showing you, right? In this particular machine where I'm opening, it's in my machine. So I have to give my computer name. I think it is Rupesh 71/Rupesh. That is the computer name. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about it. Let me try connecting it. Okay, that's not the correct server name. I have to go to my computer and I have to check it, the server name. I'll do that. This is my computer. Right click, properties. Somewhere you will find the name. The computer name is Rupesh71, not Rupesh71/Rupesh. So I've given wrong computer name. That's why it was not connecting. So the server name is nothing but the computer name where you have installed your SQL Server database. So if I give Rupesh71 and it is connecting, so it will take me inside. That means it is doing the first check whether I am having permissions to go and modify the databases or not. So this is the server, or this is the framework which helps me to talk, to manipulate, to insert, to delete, and or to play with the data and the databases. So for that, I need to pass the credential check, which says that whether I am a valid person to manipulate the data or not. So the first credential check is completed. Now, once you log in, you can see on the left-hand side the database folder where I can see so many databases I have installed. Okay, so these are called as databases. So databases in the sense where the data will be stored and used from these databases. And you can see there are so many AdventureWorks, DW, all these are databases. And each and see, it's like this. Let's say this is your server. Let me take a different color. It's exactly matching with the background color. So let me take red color. So let's say this is your server. This server will have databases. It can be a number of databases. Okay, it's not limited that okay, one database server can have only one database. It's not like that. You can have n number of databases, depends on the size and memory available. Let's say in this database, it will contain tables. It depends. N number of tables. It depends on your requirement. If the requirement says that you need to create 15 tables, then you can go for 15 tables or 500 tables or 1000 tables. And these tables will have data. So what I told was a collection of data is nothing but a database. So this is the data I'm collecting in tables, okay, is called database. So all these tables combinedly called as one database. That is what I said here. A database will have tables and tables will have data, and we will be dealing with the data that is present in the tables. Now let me show you where the table resides and how the data will be. If you go to the database, each and every database will have its own set of tables. Under that there is a folder called tables. In that, these are the tables that are available in this particular database. So let's see what data that is available here. If you go to select top 1000 rows, it is showing, okay, these are the data this is the data that is present in the table. Let me erase the drawings here. So this is a brief about how to connect to the SQL Server and what SQL Server will do. What's the role of SQL Server in Microsoft BI? So this SQL Server will have databases, and databases will have data. This is the this is how it organizes. Okay, and the definition for database is collection of data. So what the SQL Server is doing is it is collecting the data, and it is giving giving access for us to manipulate or to display the data in the applications wherever it is required. So this is about the SQL Server, and this is about the databases. And next thing is, how many of you guys know what is MSBI? So now let's come to the MSBI. What is MSBI, and how the databases and MSBI is related, and why you need to know database, any database like SQL Server or something like that, to know or to work on MSBI. Let's discuss about all those stuff today, which is base for learning the MSBI technology. Without the base, if you start learning MSBI technology, it's like shared base. First of all, you need to know why you are learning a particular technology, right? So let's start with why we need, what is MSBI and why we need it, and how databases and MSBI technology, SQL Server and MSBI is related, and why is it mandatory to learn any database before learning Microsoft BI technology. See, Microsoft BI, it stands for MSBI. It stands for Microsoft Business Intelligence. MS stands for is for Microsoft. BI stands for Business Intelligence. So Microsoft Business Intelligence, the full form of MSBI, and it has 3 tools. Let's say this is MSBI, and it has 3 tools in it. The first one is IS. I can't type it in a better way. I'm using mouse, so it's horrible. Please do adjust. The second one is SSAS, and third one is SSRS. Okay, so these 3 tools of Microsoft BI will help the users, the business people, in making strategic decisions about their business. It looks a little bit strange how these 3 can make people to take better decisions, and let's go step by step. First, why people has to take decisions, why the managers or the senior people has to take decisions, or why they have to analyze the market. That is the first question from my end. See, why any business guy or any senior manager or any vice president or any president of any business needs to analyze his business. Why he has to do that? Let's say I'm running a very big company, and every day or every week or every month, at least once in a month, I'll be scheduling meetings with all top heads to discuss how the business is going and where it is going down and where it is improving and all those stuff. Why I need to do that? As many of you people said, it's always competition in the market. To bear and to stand in the competition, people has to keep an eye on his business always. If I'm the leading bank in my country, let's say, and it will not be the same, right, throughout the career, if you take after 50 years, it may be some other bank. If I ignore analyzing my business, whether it is doing good or not, whether any other bank is overtaking my bank. So if I don't analyze my market, if I don't analyze my business, then I'm out of place. I'll tell you a simple example. Most of you guys know about Western Union, right? So Western Union is one of the best way of transferring money to India from US at least. I worried about only transferring money to India. So that was one of the best option. Now this market was occupied by Zoom. How many of you guys know about Zoom? XOOM. It's a new one, which is fast, reliable, and far better than Western Union, and people are going for Zoom like anything. So it will deposit your money. If you transfer from US, it will deposit your money in 4 hours. So this is the best anyone can provide, I can say. So all the market of Western Union on the other money transferring companies is being captured by Zoom. Now Zoom is one of the leading one, right? So if anyone gets relaxed thinking that I am the top or I am on the top position, then it's easy for the others to overtake. So that is why always there will be lot of people, lot of senior heads always thinking about what is the stage of their business and what is the stage of their competitors, and they will take strategic decisions to improve their business always. If you take any one, say let's take Yahoo Messenger or let's take Skype. So if the competition is very tight between Yahoo Messenger and Skype, then the features, if you see the features, let's take this business, the better one, Apple and Samsung. Always they'll try to provide better than their competitor. Always. There will be always people, brains thinking about the new feature that to provide to their customers, right? They don't relax, right? The people don't relax after releasing iPhone 3, then iPhone 4, iPhone 4S, iPhone 5, and immediately within short span of time they released iPhone 5S. I think they released iPhone 5S. So it's always to sustain in the market, to be top in the market, to capture the market. So they need to analyze their business as well as their competitors' business. Why they need to analyze their competitors' business? What is the need for any business guy to look into? If I'm the manufacturer of MRF tire, why I have to worry about some other tire company? Why I have to worry about their business? Why it is required? If I don't keep an eye on my competitors' business, then I don't know what offers they are providing, and if people like their offer, then everything, the market will be complete. I will lose my market. I will lose my regular customers. And I observed this very clearly in pizzas. Pizza Hut started Pan Pizza. Immediately Domino's started. And Pizza Hut started pizza for 50 rupees in India. And Domino's started for 49 rupees. So it will be like always keep an eye on the competitors' market. Whatever they're offering, we have to offer better. We should not lose our customers, right? So to be in top in market, the people has to do 2 things. One is analyzing their business, how it is doing, and second thing is analyzing their competitors' business. Okay, and to do the same, this tool will help the people to analyze their business very easily. The best way of analyzing their business or their competitors' business is to use a tool like any data warehousing tool. Not only MSBI, you can go for Informatica and other combinations. So any data warehousing tool if you use, it will be easy for guys to analyze their business. or analyze the data to be precise. Now, before going in depth of the MSBI, what MSBI serves and why all the three are required and so on, now let's try to relate why this MSBI and SQL Server or any other database is linked. What we have discussed here is what this MSBI will do is it will make the it will help the users in analyzing their data, right? It will help the users in analyzing the data that they have. Data means the business. Business is nothing but data. How many tires got sold or how many pizzas orders we got today, something like that. So data warehousing projects, any data warehousing projects deals only with data. If there is no data, then there is no data warehousing project. Remember this. If there is no data, then there is no Microsoft BI, no Informatica, no Cognos, no BO, nothing. No data stage, whatever it may be. If there is no data, then no data warehousing projects. But fortunately, we have huge data available in the world now. Every company is having huge data and they want to make use of their data to analyze their market. So, I am relating it now. This is the company X and it has huge data. Let's say it has some millions and millions of records. Records means data rows in the tables. Now, this guy if he wants to analyze the data that he has, what he has to do? He needs one data warehousing project, right? So, if you talk about creating a data warehousing project, what you need? You need data. If you don't know, if you don't have data, then if I say that I'm creating a super business intelligence project, but I don't have data, if anyone asks me how much data you have, if I say I don't have data, but still I'm just creating a fantastic business intelligence project, then person will ask me what you are going to do with if you don't have data. This business intelligence project is for creating a better solution for the users to make use of it in analyzing the data that they have. So that is why databases and Microsoft BI projects or any data warehousing projects are very closely related. They can't live without the other. Either database can live, but data warehouse projects can't live without data. So that is why people has to learn any one of the database, either SQL Server or Oracle or Teradata, any one database. You need to have knowledge what is database and how to store the data in the database and how to use the data in this MSBI projects. So you need to know all those stuff. It's not mandatory that you have to go for only SQL Server, but always I suggest it's better to go with SQL Server. Why? Because SQL Server is a product of Microsoft and MSBI is a product of Microsoft, right? If two products are from the same mother, then obviously it supports in a better way. I give support to my blood brother rather than I am giving support to a friend, right? If there is a fight between my blood shared brother and my friend, obviously I'll give support to my brother. So in the same way, these two are from the same product and always these two will have better support when compared to Microsoft BI with Oracle or Microsoft BI with Teradata or Microsoft BI with MySQL, whatever is the combination you take. It's always better to have tools of the same mother. If you see, SQL Server belongs to Microsoft and MSBI belongs to Microsoft. So this is the combination I suggest. This is my personal opinion. And that doesn't mean that you have to go with only SQL Server. If let's say, for example, Venkat is good in Oracle, he can go with Oracle and Microsoft BI. Okay, that's not a wrong combination, but I'm talking about the best combination. Best is SQL Server with Microsoft BI. Now, let's see why these three tools are used and where these three tools fit in Microsoft BI projects. I said like we are going to discuss about Microsoft BI projects, and it has 3 tools. Now let's see where these 3 tools fit and what is the job of each tool that is available in Microsoft BI. Let me erase the drawings first. Let's say when you have data in many sources, that is most common scenario. People won't maintain data in one source. Okay, people maintain data in different servers. Let's say few guys are maintaining in SQL Server, and few guys in Oracle, and few guys in Excel sheets, few guys in notepads. Let's say you have data in different databases, different types of databases. Okay, so if you have data in different types of databases, it will be very difficult to analyze your data. Agree? Analyzing your data means nothing but reading whatever it is there in the data and try to understand whatever it is there in the data. Okay, let me take this example. I am the owner of one of the leading supermarkets. Okay, I'm the owner of it, and my supermarket is present in almost all the countries. Okay, so now my intention is to find out what is the total sales of my supermarkets. Okay, all the supermarkets. Let's say I have a supermarket in 100 countries. I have 100 different branches. Okay, one branch in each country, and I want to see the total sales of all the supermarkets on a particular day. Let's say 15th September 2013. How you can tell that? How you can provide that information to me? Think and tell me how I can get the information. Let's say I have supermarkets in 100 different countries, and how I can get the total sales of all the supermarkets for the date 15th September 2013. And let me see, the first supermarket in India, this guy is having a lot of sales, and he is maintaining SQL Server to store the database. The supermarket in Sri Lanka is maintaining the data in Excel. The supermarket in, let's say, Pakistan, it is maintaining data in Notepad. I told you, irrespective of wherever you are maintaining the data, you can, if you collect the data, we call it as database. And another guy is maintaining in Teradata, and another guy in SQL Server, and another guy in Oracle, like that. All the 100 supermarket guys are maintaining data. Data in the sense the sales information in the databases. Now, my question is how I can get the total sales of all the supermarkets for the date 15/9/2013. What is the best way of getting it? So, if I have only this information in my hand, then what I have to do is I have to call each and every guy and get the information, right? Okay, call to the supermarket in India, and I have to ask what is the total sales for yesterday. If he gives $20,000, I'll make a note of it. Like that, I have to call all 100 guys, and I have to get that information, and I have to submit at the end, and I have to provide it to the senior manager who have asked a question to me, right? So when I get that information that I am looking for, then my senior manager again asks me like, okay, the 15th dated sales is fine. What about the sales of 14th of September 2013? Again, what I have to do? I have to call each and every guy, get that information, and publish it to the senior manager. And if you ask for last month 15th, again I have to call each and every guy. Is it the best way of getting the information that a senior manager is looking for? So obviously this is not the best way. The next best way I can think of is I can request everyone, okay, give me the data. I don't want to call you every time. Give me the data, pump the data to me. I'll maintain one very big server, okay. Pump your database to me once in a month. Like let's say last month is completed, or once in a week. It depends on the requirement, my requirement. Let's say for every week, okay, last week data from India, last week data from Pakistan, last week data from Sri Lanka, last week data from so on so country, and so on. So I'll be getting data from different supermarkets. Now, if I have everything in my hand, what I can do? If the same question is asked, what is the sales for last month 15, how I can provide it to my senior manager? I have to query each and every DB and I have to get that information and I have to sum it up and I have to give it to my senior manager, which is again one of the poorest way of providing the information that is asked by our senior managers. So what we can do the most efficient way, it is moving all the data, whatever the data on monthly basis or weekly basis, move all the data to one destination database. So this database will be of one type, like either SQL Server or Oracle or Teradata, whatever, it depends on the requirements. So this SQL Server database will be moved to the SQL Server, this Oracle will be moved to the SQL Server, this Teradata will be moved to the SQL Server, and similar way, everything will be moved to one destination. That means from all the 100 data sources or all the 100 supermarkets, I'll be getting data and I'll push all the data into one destination type. In particularly, let's say SQL Server or Oracle, or for example, let's say SQL Server. I'm moving all the data from different sources to one destination. Okay, and now if the senior manager asks me the same question, what is the sales for last month 15th, what I can do? Now I have this destination database with me. What I can do if the senior manager asks me the same question, like what is the sales for last month 15th, I can simply query the database. Okay, I'll write a statement, I'll query the database and I'll get the data from the database and I'll publish it. And if you ask for one more thing, again I'll query the database, like for this month 15th, if you ask, again I'll query the database. It will be easy compared to the earlier options. This is far better one. Like everything will be always available in one destination, one type of database. So I can easily query it and I can get that. So the tool which we use to move the data, to pull the data from different sources and push it into one destination, we call it as SSIS. So in full form, we call it as SQL Server Integration Services, which helps us in moving the data from different sources to one destination. This is the job of SSIS. Integration services is used to pull the data from different sources and push it into one destination, or you can push it to multiple destinations also. But 99% of the cases, people prefer to push it into one destination. That will be the requirement in most of the cases. So this is the job of SSIS, the first tool of our MSBI, and the second tool of our MSBI is SSAS. Why we need SSAS? Now I have fantastic database where all the data will be pumped into this database on weekly basis or monthly basis. It depends on the requirement, how much data we are getting. Based on that, we will decide, okay, I'm getting huge data, so let's push all the data once in a week. Or my manager is asking for reports on weekly data, like for last week, he wants reports this week, and for this week, he wants reports next week. So let's move all the data weekly basis from the sources to the destination using SSIS. Then, when I have everything here in my hand, when I can query it easily, why I need SSIS tool? How SSIS is going to help the business people in making their decisions properly, in analyzing the data, how it is going to help the business guys, end users. So imagine you are getting data continuously, and every week you are pumping the data from 100 sources to this database. Okay, let's say this guy is getting 1 crore records in a week, and this guy is getting 1 crore records in a week, and this guy is getting 1 crore records. Like that, how many records will come in 1 week from all the 100 stores? It will be 100 crores, right? So this 100 crore records will be moved to this destination per week. Like that, imagine if this database is maintaining the data for 10 years, how much of data will be present in the database? Can you go for a guess? 52 weeks. Right, 52 weeks in a year into 10, that is 520 weeks into 1 crore. not 1 crore, into 100 crores. So how much it will be? I don't know. I'm poor in mathematics. So the data will be huge. So when the data is growing like this, then it will be very difficult to query. If I write a select statement to get the data, okay, on 100 crore of information, let's say, if I write a select statement, I can go take bath and take my breakfast and come back. Still, after that also the query will be running. If the data is very less, then not an issue. Let's see, this is the query I was talking about. Here, if I execute this, you can see it is executing in fraction of seconds. Why? Because it has only 99 records. You can see at the bottom where my mouse is, it is having only 99 records. So it is getting in fraction of seconds. Imagine it has 100 crore of records. Then how much time it is going to take is, it is going to take hours to get the data. So the performance will be very big hit when the data in the database increases. Okay. So to overcome, what we do is we will introduce a layer called SSAS layer. So we use SSAS here. SQL Server Analysis Services is the full form for SSAS. And what it will do is it will mold, it will convert this two-dimensional database to multi-dimensional database. We call it as OLAP. Okay. So what is the job of SSAS is mainly to convert two-dimensional database into multi-dimensional database. Now this is very important interview question. What is two-dimensional and what is multi-dimensional database? So two-dimensional database is nothing but it will have rows and columns. If you take a table here, what it has? It has columns. Like you can see, this is one column, this is one column, this is one column, this is one column. In the same way, this has rows. So we call it as two-dimensional databases. Multi-dimensional databases, it will have dimensions. It will not have tables and rows and columns. It will have dimensions. So what SSAS will do is it will just change the format. It will just change the data structure, how we are storing the data. It just changes that, and we call that the output of the SSAS projects as OLAP databases. Okay. Now let's discuss a little bit about OLAP database. Before going to that, what is this? I said we are moving all the data into one destination. This is also nothing but database, but we call it with another name, that is DW. Is nothing but data warehouse. So what is data warehouse? This is the question, common question when you are attending interviews on an MSBI. What is data warehouse will be the first question. Data warehouse is nothing but a database where all the historical data will be maintained. If you observe, every week it is pushing data to here. That means all the historical data will be moved to the database, destination database, where it will collect all the history. So we call it as data warehouse. What is warehouse in any house? There will be a separate room called warehouse, right? If you see, few houses will have warehouse room. It's kind of go down where they will move all the waste or all things that they are not using, right? In the same way, here all the data, all the historical data means last 10 years data, last 20 years data, last 30 years data. Everything will be moved to one destination database, which will be used for analysis purpose. Okay. So we call it as data warehouse. So databases are two-dimensional. That means it will have rows and columns, which is nothing but tables. Okay, tables will have rows and columns. But this OLAP is an online analytical processing database which will have dimensions. It is multi-dimensional. It is not just two-dimensional. It is multi-dimensional. Okay. It is not a two-dimensional like databases. That is the only difference between OLAP and OLTP. OLTP means it's two-dimensional. I'm writing it here. This is OLTP. OLTP means it is two-dimensional and OLAP means it is multi-dimensional. Okay. And now, as I told you, SSAS will convert OLTP databases, that is nothing but data warehouses or simply databases, into multi-dimensional database. So the advantage here is the performance will be super good performance. So if the performance is super good, then if you execute a query, you don't need to go to bath and finish your breakfast. When you execute the query, it will return you retrieve you the result in fraction of seconds, or sometimes it may take 3 to 4 seconds. A proper OLAP database should not take more than 5 seconds to get the data. Okay. So the performance improvement will be done by SSAS. SSAS will come into picture only when the performance is low of the database, where you are maintaining all the data. If the performance is low, then SSAS layer will come into picture and OLAP database will be created. And the last one is SSRS. That disadvantage of this OLAP is it is a database. I cannot, or anyone cannot ask users to learn how to query database. If I give a database to the business users and ask them to write a query to see the data, they'll slap me on the spot, or they'll fire me, or they'll recruit a new guy. So this SSRS will make use of the data to generate reports. The output of SSRS is reports. So these reports will be published to the users, and the users will access these reports to see how the data, how the business is going. So this is data. Clients will give me data. The MSBI projects output, the total, the final output will be reports. So reports are the easiest way for the users to generate and to see how the business is going, whether it is progressing or whether it is declining, anything. They can, the best way of seeing the data or analyzing the data is reports. So they don't care what is happening in between. They just see what is showing in the reports. Okay. The main reason for introducing OLAP is for whenever the performance is the biggest. And very minor use of SSAS. I mean, this is also one of the use of SSAS is to finish or to create complex calculations. If there is any complex calculation, you will get confused if I talk about that one now. There are some ways, I mean, to create a complex calculation, SSAS is the best option. Then SQL Server or any database. So the major important reason for using SSAS layer is to improve the performance of the database. So if you see, it has gone through so many phases. On the first phase, we got data and we moved it to one destination. We call it as database or data warehouse or OLTP database. All the three, nothing but the same. And then to improve the performance, we used SSAS layer and we created OLAP database. And then we use this data to generate reports. And the only thing that clients will see is these reports. So these reports, clients will click on that report and they will see the charts, the tables, the data, whatever they are looking for. So it's easy for those guys to see the data here in the, this is nothing but information we have provided. Charts will carry information. It won't carry data. There is a little difference between data and information. Data is nothing but whatever you have in your database or in Excel sheet or Notepad, whatever you have. But information is what clients or any particular person is looking for. In that data, the filtered part or the complete part, sometimes information depends on what user is looking for. If I belongs to country India, then the information I'll be looking for is India-wide sales. If let's say Modi belongs to Sri Lanka, and the information he is looking for is the Sri Lanka sales, right? That is the difference between data. This is the data. Data will have everything, but the filters or subset of this one are applying the filters and providing the exact requirement what business user is looking for. That output is called as information. We are providing information to the users using this MSBI projects, which helps the users to analyze their business easily and take strategic decisions. Now, if you ask me why, whether all the three tools are mandatory in any project, I don't say yes. Why? Because if the data that is coming to this OL, the data warehouse is very less, then why I need this OLAP? I don't need this layer at all, right? If my database is having only 50,000 records and it won't take much time to query, if I write a select statement on 50,000 records, I'll get the records in fraction of seconds. So why I need this OLAP to improve the performance, right? I will use this and I'll directly jump to SSRS. In the same way, few guys prefer Informatica rather than SSIS. So then in that case it will be Informatica first here and then followed by OLAP, that is SSIS, and then SSRS. So all these three are independent. Okay, it's not mandatory that you have to use all the three tools. That is the first thing. And the second thing is it is not mandatory that you have to use the same combination. That is the combination of MSBI tools, SSIS, AS, and RS. You can use Informatica for moving the data from many sources for this job. Instead of SSIS, you can use Informatica, and you can use SSIS and SSRS for the remaining two. Or you can use SSIS, you can use SSIS, but for reports you can use Cognos. Instead of SSRS, you can go for Cognos. So all these three are at different tools, different projects. These three are linked in only one way. I'm going to tell you where these three are linked. Apart from that, you can use anything, any combination. And sometimes people will go for only SSRS projects. They don't need SSIS, already data will be moved and readily available. People will recruit only SSRS developers who will design reports on the data they are having. So, one of our friend asked, like, for SSIS developer, is it difficult to learn Informatica? See, it's like the major difference between any two tools, like the tools which serve the same purpose but from different parents, is like .NET and Java. Most of you guys know that, right? .NET and Java. Both are languages. The similarity will be, even in Java you will have for loop, and even in .NET you will have for loop. Even in Java you will have if conditions, and .NET you will have if conditions. So the concept will remain the same, but the syntax will vary, right? Where you are going to write the framework, the syntax will vary. In the same way, Informatica and SSIS, if you see, both will do the same job: extraction, transformation, and loading of the data. And the objects will remain the same, very close objects like audit transformations and lookups and so on. So the similar things will be there, but implementation wise, if you are familiar with SSIS, you may feel easy, like you may take hardly 1 week to get hands-on in Informatica. So the concepts, whenever you are going through that Informatica, after being an expert in SSIS, then you will feel it's easy. It's easy to learn. So these are two different tools, two same tools meant for same job, but from different parents. So obviously these two guys have their own syntax. And SSIS has very limited options. Even I'm not pretty sure. I heard like Cognos will do half of the job that SSIS will do. And in the same way, data stage or some other tool is there which serves the purpose like SSIS. But SSIS is the best one available, and it got a lot of boom. And I've seen a lot of projects wherever they want to improve the performance, they prefer to go with SSIS. That's the added advantage for MSBI. So if you see all these three combinedly, if you go for other products, then you'll have different tools. Like you have to go for Informatica, you have to learn Cognos, you have to learn DOs, like that. It will be like that. But here, all these three shares the same framework, and everything will remain the same apart from the new objects in each and every tool. In SSIS, you will have some other toolbox. In SSIS, it will be different. In SSRS, it will be different. But the common framework for designing all the projects. Framework means the one which we use to design the projects. We are going to discuss about that a lot in coming sessions. So, in the time you spend for learning Informatica, you can easily learn all the three if you concentrate here. It's pretty easy compared to other tools. And now let me split. Let me give you an example. If you are going for 1 year project, okay, what will be the timelines for SSIS, SSIS, and SSRS? So it will be like, let me erase the drawings first. I told you there is a dependency between all the three. I'll show you what is first dependency. This is your SSIS project, this is your SSRS project, and this is, sorry, SSIS, and this is your SSRS project. Here, people will get data. This is SSIS team. They will get data from different sources, and they'll create one destination. And here, one database will be there, and SSIS team will use that, and it will, the output of that one is another database. Here, one input will be taken by SSRS, and the output will be reports. This will be used by SharePoint team or directly provided to the end users. Okay. Now, this is the input these guys want. The output will be used here, and this output will be used here. So this guy is dependent on SSIS, and this guy is dependent on SSIS, right? This is the only dependency, but people don't wait until these guys load all the data. Until all the data is moved to the destination, people won't wait till then. The development always starts parallel. Let's say it is 1 year project. The first job people will do is they will design the database here. The tables, all those stuff will be designed, and then these guys will start pushing the data into this, writing packages to push the data into the data warehouse. And these guys will access this empty database. They know that there is no data, but they will access this empty database, and they will design this empty data OLAP database here. The output of SSIS is OLAP database, and these guys create one empty OLAP database. And these guys access this and create reports. So no one will wait for others to finish the job. Okay. So if they continue to wait, then if these guys take 1 year, then what these guys will be doing for 1 year, and what these guys will be doing for 1 year. And let's say these guys will take 6 months, then what these guys will be doing for first 1.5 years. So it's not the case. People first, everyone, all the architects and project leads will sit and they will design this database, and these guys will start loading data into this. Meanwhile, these guys, whatever the data is loaded into this, they will make use of it, and they will go and create OLAP database. And these guys will either connect to this or connect to this, depends on the requirement, started generating the reports. So this is how the project works. Any MSBI project works. And one more thing, these guys will be sitting in Bangalore, these guys will be sitting in UK, and these guys will be sitting in maybe sitting in USA. It's not mandatory that all the three teams should sit together and discuss among each other. These guys want what is the destination where they need to push, and what is the source from where they have to pull. From here pull, and from to here push. And these guys only knows from where they have to pull and where they have to push. And these guys where they have to pull and where they have to generate the reports. So that's it. Apart from that, okay, Rupesh is working here and Lokesh is working here. So these two guys have to sit together and they have to discuss always should be part of the discussion. That's not the case. But once in a week or twice in a week, they'll have a weekly status calls to know where this guy is, and if this guy is facing any problem with the database designed by these guys or data loaded by these guys, then they will discuss. Man, please don't load junk data. Please load some valid data. Please load some correct data. Something like that. Whatever the issues this guy is facing with the output that this guy is giving, he can raise it. In the same way, if this guy is expecting one column and if this guy is not given that column, then he can raise that issue. Man, I need that column. You have not provided it in your output. Please add that. I need it badly, or else my report will not be completed. So these kind of discussions will be there, always the interaction will be there, but it's not mandatory that everyone has to sit together and always discuss among the teams. So this is how the project team works, and there is no nothing called people will wait. That first one has to complete first SSIS and then SSAS and then SSRS. It's not like that. The work starts parallelly. Remember that. So this is how the work will be split. We discussed a lot about this. Now, what we are going to do for next 20 days? Next 20 sessions. So the next 20 sessions will be the discussions on SSIS. So what is the job of SSIS? SSIS job is to pull the data from source and push it into the destination, right? So we call it as extraction. That means extracting data from the source, right? And loading data to the destination. Sometimes, very rare cases, we need to transform the data in the middle. After extraction and before loading, you need to transform the data. Very rare cases, not very rare cases. These days it has become very common case that you have to transform. What is meant by transforming? Transforming means altering the data, changing the data. Let's say my name is written as Rupesh by one supermarket guy. The spelling is R-U-P-E-S-H. Another guy is written as R-O-O-P-E-S-H. So my correct spelling is R-O-O-P-E-S-H. So while moving, he has to transform, he has to change it, this spelling to this spelling. So he has to correct all the issues, or he has to concatenate new data. It depends, there will be something like that. So I'll tell you one example. Let's say my date of birth is like 12th August 1984 and my age is 53. Is it correct? So this date of birth is wrong or the age is wrong. So I have to correct at the time of transformation. Transformation means while doing that, we'll manipulate the data. Okay. So the ETL, all these three will form ETL. Extraction, transformation, load is nothing but SSIS. SSIS job is to extract the data, transform the data, and load the data to the destination. So we are going to discuss about how this ETL works and what are the different options we have for extracting, for transforming, and for loading. Apart from this, there are a lot of other objects which helps to drive this ETL. Okay, which helps to drive this ETL, that is extract, transformation, and load, and maintenance, how to maintain these packages and all. Everything will be discussed in next 20 sessions. So that's it for today's session, and I hope you got the basic knowledge about what you are going to do, what you are going to learn in next 60 sessions or so, that which covers SSIS, SSAS, and SSRS, and it will be very interesting. I think I'll try to make it as very interesting. So we'll start our first ETL package tomorrow in next session. That's it for today's session, guys. Have a nice day. Bye bye.